Welcome to the Money Script Podcast. It's your host, Johannes Harrison. So happy to be with each and every one of you today. I wanted to give a special thank you to everyone that gave us, what was it? I guess 5 stars. Is that what they do on Apple, or thumbs up? I think it's 5 stars on Apple, thumbs up on Spotify, or like, I don't, thank you. Thank you to all of you. You've been spreading the word. I've been getting a lot more questions that have been coming in via the social media about the podcast. I must have had about 5 people last week that said, "Hey, I'd love to be a guest on your podcast, or you come be a guest on my podcast." The answer is yes. I would love to be a guest on your podcast. And thank you for tuning into ours. Very excited about our show today. We are going to be talking about healthy, active lifestyles again, something that is really important to me. For those of you that have been following, I've been training for my first 10K, and it's tomorrow morning. And for those of you that are runners, I still have not practiced a full 10K yet. Nope. I got to 8.5K, which is a little over 5 miles a couple days ago. And I said, you know what? That's it. That's all I'm doing. I just refuse to train anymore. I'm just going into the race tomorrow. It'll be fine. But I'm ready. I'm excited. I've been fueling my body the best I can all week. Really excited about that post-run fuel. That's going to be fun. I think it's going to be, donuts. Or things are going to happen. I'm going to have donuts. I've decided donuts and beer. That's just what it's going to be. So speaking of healthy, active lifestyles, I've got a wonderful guest today. I have my good friend, John, AKA the Bodybuilding Vegan. We're going to talk to him in a few minutes. But before we get into that, for those of you who are listening to this on time, we are nearing the end of the year. If you're listening to it at a different time, we are nearing the end of, I don't know, day, month, week. Something's always coming, but it's close to the end of the year. And I want to give a shout out to all of my business owners out there. If you have not put together a retirement plan for your small business, now's a good time to think about it. Okay. You don't want to wait until next year to do this. Some of these plans have rules where you need to get things in place before the end of the year. So really quickly, I just want to go over the different types of retirement plans that are available to small businesses. And I don't care if you're a business of 1 person or a business of 200 people, you're in that small business category. So the different plans available, one of the most easiest and simplest to set up is just a traditional or Roth IRA. You actually don't have to be a business to have one of those, but traditional and Roth IRAs are ways you can put money away for your retirement, for your financial independence. There are rules based on your income and how you qualify for those, but those are your first 2 choices, and those are the simplest ones. The next is what's known as the simple IRA. Not as simple as one would think, but it is easier than like a 401k to set up. It has certain rules and who can participate, who cannot. And we'll make sure to give you a link to one of the IRS. IRS actually put together a great pamphlet on this. We'll put a link to that in the show notes. Number 3 is called a SEP IRA, SEP IRA, Simplified Employee Pension Plan. Also easy to set up and maintain. There are rules about who's an employee, who's a contractor, et cetera, as far as who can participate. Again, those rules will be spelled out in the document that is attached to our show notes. Next is my personal favorite. It's known as a solo 401k. Now, the solo 401k is for a solo individual. The only other person that can participate in a solo 401k is a spouse. Okay, so if you and your spouse are in business together, solo 401k might be a great idea for you. And then if you're a little bit bigger, a bigger small business, then maybe you want to start thinking about the smaller 401k plans, safe harbor plans, things of that nature. There's a lot of great vendors out there that make it really easy to set up and maintain a 401k for multiple people. So if any of those tickled your fancy a bit and you want to learn more, feel free to reach out to me. Happy to give you some more information on it. Like I said, take a look at the IRS form that we put in the show notes so you can learn more about those plans so that you can start putting some money away for your retirement. Just because you're a small business owner doesn't mean that you don't that you get to skip out on saving for your retirement, because one of the best ways to have a great business is to know your exit strategy. And I'll tell you what, the more money you have, the easier it is to plan that exit strategy. So with that, I want to get to our guests. I want to welcome, as I said, my good friend, John, the Bodybuilding Vegan. For those of you that joined us on YouTube, you probably saw him hanging out with us already. And he dyed his hair just for us. I say, hey, you got to go green, man. And he did it. See, that's the impact that we have on our guests. So John, welcome to the Money Script Podcast. How you doing, my friend?
Johan, thank you for having me on, brother. I think you'll notice I got the dye to perfectly match your logo color. I mean, it is
You,
just
you did.
spot on. But yeah, it was all for you, just so you know. I planned this before I even met you. I was just, I knew, just speak it into existence. But I'm
Beautiful.
doing great. I am, honestly, this might sound a little out there, but I think I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. I am just living in this mindset of gratitude, of opportunity, of like endlessness, like of endless growth and potential, and it's just it's taken over my life, and so I'm riding with this wave. I've felt like this for a couple weeks now, and I'm just I'm like high on life. I am feeling great. Um, with that being said, I'm 3 weeks out from my first bodybuilding show since 2021. So I'm hearing about you talking about donuts and beer. I don't even drink, but beer sounds good right now. And I'm like, man, I wish I could have some of that. I did have a question though, because I am a coach. That is what I do, and we can dig into that more. I am genuinely curious why a 10K? Because me as a bodybuilder, if I'm running a 10K, I'm probably dead. But if I'm running, there is like a way bigger, stronger animal like chasing me. So why for you? And I actually used to run in high school. I used to be a pretty long distance runner. I think I've done some good miles. But why? Why for you? What's your reason why for this 10K?
So John, I appreciate you asking that. And like you, I was a runner in high school. I did cross country in high school for 1 year, and I really enjoyed that feeling that I had when nothing else was happening, and it was just me and the road or the trail and just my music. And I enjoyed the solitude and the it's almost like a meditation almost. Why a 10K? I've ran several 5Ks. I usually run 2 or 3 5Ks a week. Just that's just what I enjoy doing is running. I kind of took up running when I got too many injuries playing basketball. So I'm 43 years old. I tried a few times to play basketball with kids half my age. I shouldn't call them kids, but that's what they feel like when they're out there. And I started to suffer too many injuries, and I still wanted that cardiovascular activity. I don't have a bike. I have a Peloton, but I'm just kind of stuck in one place. And so I decided to just get into running more. And I had an opportunity to. I went looking for a race, and the first available race that I could sign up for that wasn't a marathon. I'm not there yet. The first that was available was a 10K, and so I messaged some of my buddies in the neighborhood, said, "Hey, who wants to do this 10K with me at Arlington Stadium?" And one person said, "I'm in." I was like, "That's all I needed," and sign up, registered, and now I'm going tomorrow.
Heck yeah, brother. That it just fills me up to hear that. Like that's it's empowering. Like you just decided, I want to do this. I'm gonna set my mind to it. I'm gonna take some steps to make this happen. And hearing that you already did an 8.5K, I know you're gonna crush this 10K. It's all
Oh,
mine
I'm gonna
for
crush
that.
this thing tomorrow, man. The adrenaline is already full. The adrenaline is flowing so high the day before. I have to
Yeah.
force myself to eat. Because when I
Oh
get
wow.
sometimes I get high adrenaline excited that I don't really have any hunger. I'm like, no, I have to fuel myself today because
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it all out there on in the parking lot and stadium tomorrow. Actually, I'm curious where we're going to run, whether it's the parking lot or do we get to run around the bases? I don't know. I know it's that they had to postpone the check-in because the Rangers made the playoffs here in Dallas or Arlington, wherever the stadium is. So they had to postpone check-in to first thing tomorrow morning. So I'm really curious where we're going to run. I hope I get to at least take one lap around the bases, say I did it. I doubt it though, because we'd probably ruin the field with hundreds of people running a 10K around Arlington Stadium. So, but yeah, you mentioned something that I'm going to piggyback on, sir. I also felt that energetic high on life. It kind of hit me about a week ago, and I've had a tremendous week. I saw more client sessions this week than I've seen probably ever, and just the way it just worked out. Usually people reschedule. No one
Yeah.
rescheduled this week. I think maybe two people rescheduled. It was like, wait, I'm seeing all these people this week and just been having great conversations, delivering lots of value, getting a lot closer to some of my clients as well, learning more things about them. So that's been great, helping them work through things. So yeah, I've been in just an endless state of gratitude and just really excited. I think part of it is also I have that. I always have that fourth quarter spirit, from years of sports.
Yeah.
Quarter four, it's time to go. No matter what, whether winning or losing, I'm gonna leave it all on the field, and that's kind of how 2023 is turning into. It's like, all right, 2023 Jordan year, win or lose, I'm in the finals. Let's go. I'm going to play my heart out. So yeah, I feel you on that. So I've been in the same spot. So I want to know from you. You said you have your first competition for bodybuilding. So what made you decide that you wanted to, bulk up and become a strongman?
Yeah. I will get into that. Just piggybacking off of you real quick.
Yeah,
I feel like we're in sync right now because this has been the best month I've ever had for coaching. I just had somebody else sign up this morning. I got to go work on their plan tonight. Um, if you build it, they'll come, right? That's a baseball thing, right? Yeah.
that's they
So
say. You build it, they'll
I mean,
come.
we're
Field of
putting the
dreams.
value, yeah, putting the value out there, and it's coming around. So I'm happy to hear that for us. So why bodybuilding? What a wonderful question. I'd always been into sports, soccer, karate. I actually did like long distance running. Um, and then I wrestled in high school. And at the end of wrestling, we started lifting weights. And I never went back to wrestling. I was like, I like lifting weights. I don't know. There's something fun about it. There's something about building yourself up. And I don't think I realized how deep it was at that time. I had been bullied so much throughout all of like kindergarten through really eighth grade. Like it was just, I had different hair back then, and like I wasn't confident with who I was. I still had the teeth I have now, and like kids would make fun of me. Kids would beat me up. Kids would talk about my mom. Like it was rough. It was, to be honest. Thank you guys. I don't think I'd be this damn tough if it wasn't for you. Um, so I started lifting weights, and I started getting stronger, and I cared about getting stronger, and eventually I gravitated towards bodybuilding. And I think the thing that was so cool for me was if you went and you were dedicated and you put in the time and the effort and the energy and did what you were supposed to do, ate the right foods, you saw results. Probably no different than running or anything else. And like I started to get addicted to the results. So then I would refine my other processes. But um, I was vegan. I had been vegan for a couple of years. So at that time, this was like 15 years ago, um, everybody told me I couldn't do it. I still wanted to. I still wanted just to try and see if I could actually build any muscles in vegan. So all the muscle you see today was built with plants. There was no meat involved, no dairy involved, no fish, no eggs. I had never touched a weight uh, while eating those foods. So I've had to really kind of build my own structures in, and that's what's led to the bodybuilding vegan that you see today, um, and is also the result for me having this coaching opportunity to be a plant-based coach. I do work, like I made your meal plan. I do work with people that aren't vegan, um, but this is an area where there just isn't a ton of accessible knowledge, especially on like the bodybuilding stage. And so it's created a niche for me that I can really thrive in. To be honest, there's nobody else my size that's vegan competing in the United States. Like I'm
Well,
good.
hold on. Shout out to previous podcast guest, Brooke Sellers. She
Uh-huh.
is a mighty young lady. I don't know. She's vegan too. I mean, I haven't seen the two of you in real life side by side, but she looks pretty buff to me.
Well, Brooke is actually one of my great friends, Miss Meatless Muscle, and I could go on and on because she has personally helped me grow my business. I would not be where I am today. I wouldn't be speaking with you, brother, if it wasn't for her. So shout out to her. I have a little bit of size on her, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Okay.
She
All right. All right. 'Cause I
she,
was
she
about to say
competes in a
she's
she competes in a different division, so it's a
okay.
little bit division specific. Yeah, but like
Okay.
yeah, no, she's
Okay.
good. She's good.
All
But
right. All right.
I
Just
mean, all right. Let's be honest here, though. Like full disclosure, most men are less likely to be vegan than women, and
facts.
in the men's divisions, you are required to carry so much more muscle mass. It's very hard to get there. The barrier to entry is much higher. Like if
Mm.
I had a daughter and I had a son, and they both wanted to get into competitive bodybuilding, for the son, he might be looking at least 5 years before he can do well on stage, whereas the daughter could be ready in a year or two, depending
Oh.
upon the division. So it's just a longer runway for men. But yeah, Brooke is great. We like Brooke. So,
We like Brooke.
uh,
We like.
yeah, yeah. I don't know where I was
So
going
I
with all this, but yeah.
well well you what you're going is you're taking me to some questions. So um we asked the same question of Brooke, and I shared this on the episode I had with her. So I was born and raised vegan, then turned vegetarian, and then back to vegan and vegetarian. And this was growing up in the 80s and early 90s in Charlotte, North Carolina. It was very hard to be a vegan or vegetarian. Talking about getting bullied. I got to the point where I didn't want to even open my lunch at school. I would get in trouble because I'd bring all my lunch home. I just wouldn't eat because I got tired of getting picked on because my food had or bean sprouts on it, or had tofu instead of tofu sandwich instead of fish sandwich, things of that nature, or just the fact that my bread was brown. Okay. That was something kids would tease me about, that I had brown bread. So it was tough back then, but now, everybody's doing it. Well, I won't say everybody, but everybody is a lot of people now at least dabble or have dipped their toe in the waters of vegetarianism or veganism. But why did you decide to do it, and how old were you?
Yeah. So I officially became vegetarian at 10 years old and then vegan at 13.
Well, okay, stop right there. How did you make that decision? I mean, did you see a chicken get their head cut off or something, or you saw a pig bleed out? I mean, what made you at 10 say, "Mom, Dad, hold the meat"?
I think that that would work for a lot of people. I think if we forced people as part of like high school curriculum to go to a slaughterhouse and be like, hey, this is how your food is made. Yeah, they kill a cow, they shoot it in the head, and they slit its throat. You want to watch? Most people say, no, I don't want to watch. Well, then you shouldn't eat it. But when it was like a progression story. So when I was like 4, I went fishing with my dad, and we caught all these fish, this catfish, and we left them strung up overnight, which sounds really weird now, but at the time I guess it seemed normal. And the next morning he's like, "So you want to eat fish?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to eat some fish." He's like, "All right, come help me get them." And then I'm like, "What?" And he pulls them out of the water, sets them on the dock. They start flopping around, dying, and I'm like, "Whoa, no, I don't want to kill them." He's like, "Well, how are you gonna eat them?" And I was like, "Nope, nope, 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 nope." I threw myself on the ground, threw a temper tantrum. Dad put them all back in the water. I probably had a hamburger later that afternoon, but
Probably.
even at 4, when I was seeing an animal die, I was like, this doesn't feel right to me. Probably about 7 or 8, my dad took me hunting, and we were gonna go try and shoot some squirrels. What do people do? I don't know. Anyways, um, but I was driven to this choice of I really don't want to kill this small defenseless animal, but I really don't want to let my dad down, and he's just trying to give me a good life at this point in time, do what his dad did for him. So I was like, what can I do? I was like, well, I can go and I can miss. I can shoot the ground. That way, I'm not a big pansy, but I'm also not killing an animal. So that was my compromise then. But I still didn't have that mental, we all have this mental disconnect. We don't see the animal die in front of us, so we still eat it. At 10, my friend came over and she said, funny enough, born the same day as me, our parents were friends while they were pregnant, and we're still friends at 31. And my friend was like, hey, I'm not eating my hamburger, and you shouldn't either. Like, we shouldn't eat from McDonald's, we shouldn't eat this food because it kills an animal to do it. And I was like, well, everybody else does it. I don't want to be the person that doesn't do what everybody else is doing. So for like a month or two, I still did. And then I was like, shoot, I think she's right. Like, I am. I mean, I didn't want to kill the fish. I didn't want to kill the squirrel, but now I'm killing a cow. But I loved turkey. And most people would be like, oh, I love turkey. Like, oh, if you love turkey, you probably don't want to kill a turkey. But I loved eating turkey. So Thanksgiving rolled around. And that was the only thing. So I didn't have to classify myself as vegetarian. I didn't want to be that picked on kid. Oh, he was a vegetarian too, and he's got weird hair and weird teeth. Oh boy. Um, but then Thanksgiving rolled around. I see it on the table, and I'm like, man, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can, in good faith and good conscience, be a hypocrite. I don't want to see it
Mm.
killed. I don't want it to be killed, and there it is. So at 10, I was like, yep, that's it. Thanksgiving, I'm done. I'm vegetarian. No fish, no turkey, no chicken, no cows, nothing that poops. I don't eat anything that poops. Um, and then,
That rules out a lot of
yeah, pretty much all
beings.
animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I've heard before people say nothing that has a face. And I was like,
That
does a
works too.
shrimp really have a face?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
but
But nothing that
there's poop
poops.
in
That'll
shrimp.
do it. There's poop
I
in
remember
shrimp. Yeah,
going to a buffet and having to pull out poop out of the shrimp. Like what? It's weird.
yeah.
I don't know. If you love shrimp, you love shrimp. Whatever. But 3 years later, of all
Shout out
things,
to Alicia who loves shrimp. Love you, babe.
oops. Um, I was reading a magazine from PETA saying how being vegetarian is not enough. I'm like, what do you mean vegetarian is not enough? I'm not killing anything. Like, I'm doing pretty darn good. And I'm 13. My mom's driving me to school. I'm in 8th grade. And by the time I get to school, I'm like, I gotta be vegan. Because I realized, well, I don't want to kill a cow. That's mean. But what I'm paying for when I get milk is I'm paying the farmer to artificially inseminate the cow, which is a really polite way of saying raping another species, forcing it to become pregnant.
Whoa. Okay.
I mean, can a cow consent to you sticking something inside of its vagina?
I never had considered cow consent until today, and now I won't be able to get that image out of my mind. I don't drink cow's milk, anyways. I mean, I'll if something's made with cow's milk, cake, whatever, whatever. Those donuts that I'm gonna have, I'm not gonna think much about it. But
We can find some vegan ones. I guarantee I can find some
there
vegan
are
ones for
good
you.
vegan donuts. That is true. And
Yeah, yeah.
actually there's a Whole Foods right by the Arlington Stadium. I'll go get the vegan donuts are amazing. I've been hooked on vegan donuts since I was a kid. Oh my gosh,
I
they're
I love
fluffy.
it.
They actually
Yeah,
have protein in them as well. I'm like,
yeah.
I love vegan donuts. Vegan Krispy Kreme, Dunkin', none of them have anything on a good chocolate vegan donut from Whole Foods. Run
Let's
me my check,
go.
Whole Foods or Amazon, whoever,
And
somebody.
and
I
this
think I deserve a free donut for that. You're welcome.
Yeah, yeah, you do. And this is how we change the world, brother. This is how we change the world. It's not by voting every 4 years. You get to vote every single day when you spend your money. And now you're
It's
telling
true.
the world, hey, I want more vegan donuts. I want less raping of cows. I want more health, more wealth, more protein, and that's what you're doing. So, all right, it might sound a little funny. It might, but let's take it to the next step. Okay,
I'm
so now
sorry,
we've
rape is not funny. It's just when you associate it with a cow, it makes it comical. Do not
okay,
come at me,
okay,
Twitter. Okay, it was a
all right,
cow. We're talking about an animal.
okay. All right, well
Okay,
then, could a cow be?
non-consensual
Okay,
insemination of cows. There, we
no,
cleaned it up.
there we go. Could you consider a cow a mother?
I mean, I brown cow, brown cow. What do you see? I mean, she seemed like a cool cow. I mean, my daughter read that
Okay,
book. My son read that book.
but I'm
So
saying when they have a baby, they become a mom, right?
yeah,
Yeah, and what the farmers do on these mass scale farms is they go through 5 cycles. Their birthing process takes about 11 months. They get a month of rest. Their baby's born. Their baby is taken away immediately. The baby is fed by a bottle by a farmer somewhere else with their cow's milk, other cow's milk, and the mom is never allowed to see her baby again. They do that 5 times, and then they kill the cow and turn it into a hamburger. So by being vegan, you're actually saying I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with a mother having its child taken away the second it's born. But by being vegetarian, you're saying I'm okay with that. And so for me, like another way to think about it is if I had the choice, I was going to be reincarnated as a male cow or a female cow, what would be the less amount of suffering? The male cow lives to about 2, unless it's veal, then it just dies really young. But live a couple of years, get turned into a hamburger, or live about 6 years, 7 years, have your child taken from you 5 times, and then get turned into a hamburger. So for me, I'm not out here to bash on vegetarians. I was vegetarian for 3 years, but once my eyes were opened, I couldn't close them. I couldn't unsee that. And so that was a 1 week trial, almost like you with running. Like, I'm going to try it. I figured I'd try being vegan for a week. It's been almost 18 years. And I don't regret it at all. And my health is great. I am one of the biggest vegan bodybuilders to walk this earth ever that I know of. And I'm trying to put this out there that I did it even when everybody told me my whole life I couldn't. And so can you if you want to. Like, there's no reason you can't unless you just don't want to. And that's also going back to your why. My why, the reason I'm getting on stage and competing is because the world is not yet vegan. If the world was vegan tomorrow, I would
Yeah,
probably
you wouldn't be
say
that. Yeah, you wouldn't be that.
I, w-
I
I
mean,
wouldn't
you'd
have
be
that
known as one
drive.
of the first, so you have that
Yeah.
still going for you. But yeah, no, it would,
I would
your
go find
stage will
something
become
else.
smaller.
Yeah, I'd go find something else to change. Like, okay, once the world's vegan, maybe we need to focus on pollution or on, building back the rainforest or something like that. Like, I'd find another cause.
Mm.
If you don't have a cause or a reason or a why, then you're not going to be driven. And I'm extremely driven right now.
Amen, brother.
So much that I got this
Okay,
green
so
hair.
so speaking of a cause and a reason for existing, the reason the Money Script podcast exists is to provide people with their daily or weekly or however often they're listening to a dose of financial literacy. This is the freemium version of what the Money Script offers. I am a financial advisor. I work with clients to help them make better financial decisions, helping them align their values with their goals and their financial behaviors. So not everybody can have access to me, but everyone can have access to this podcast. All you need is access to the internet, which is becoming almost free today. So you have no excuse, because now that you know better, you can do better. So with that, with the reason for us existing, one question we like to ask each of our podcast guests is, what is your first memory of money? We know your first memory of squirrels, catfish, and cows, but what is your first memory of money?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I was like 4 years old, maybe five, 4 or 5. And my mom said, "This is your allowance." I was like, "Allowance? That sounds cool. $1? You're telling me I get $1 a week just for doing my chores?" "Yes, John, you get $1." Heck, well, if I wait 4 weeks, now I got $4. I could go get a nice toy with this. And like, I caught on to it real quick. My little brother, he didn't. He would get, $1 and he'd be like, "Oh, I can get a piece of candy." And I'd be like, "Nah, if I wait 4 weeks, I can go get a stormtrooper toy. Screw the candy. I want the toy. I'm going to save. I'm going to get this toy." And so I was 6 years old when I said, "Mom, I want to open a savings account." And she said, "Okay, let's go to the bank and get you a savings account." I put my money in there. I was like 7 or 8 years old, and I don't think this company's around anymore. It was called ING Direct. I believe it's
ING,
owned
we know
by
the orange and
the
the lion, and
Orange.
then it turned to orange. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. They used
yeah.
to,
I
they
think,
were like the first one to start serving coffee inside their banking centers. It was crazy. I would go to ING
yeah.
just to get a coffee. Like, can we help you? Nope, just here for the coffee.
But I only knew them from online banking, and this was a long
Mm.
time ago. Or like, I don't even know if it was online. Like, you had to call them to check your balance. Um, and I was 7, maybe 8, but I saw they had a savings account with a 5% interest rate. I was like, "Mom, I'm
Yeah,
only
those are
making like
back, ladies and gentlemen. The 5%
yeah,
savings accounts are back. You heard what he said. This is when he was like 6 years old. We haven't seen 5% savings accounts since John was 6. They're back.
yeah." I think Ally Bank might have bought ING, but anyways, so I realized like 5% is a lot better than 0.1. So move all my money to the 5%. Let's do it. Let it ride. And so that was like my first foray into money, and then it created a lot of habits that took me very far. Like, I knew my parents were going to be able to afford to get me a car when I turned 16. So from like 12, 13, 14, 15, I'd mow lawns, birthday money. I'd just save half of everything. If somebody gave me $100 for my birthday, 50 right in the bank. So when I turned
Nice.
16, got my learner's permit. I was able to get my first car, which then got me my first job. I was like, "Well, I've saved all this money to buy a car just to go pay for my car, and other things." But it instilled some values to me that then carried over to bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is no different. Like, you got to put in the time. You got to invest. And what I have learned in my long years of working and investing and saving, the best investment you can make is in yourself. My ability to compete as a bodybuilder has grown exponentially once I hired my bodybuilding coach. I have spent over $1,500 this year on extended nutrition, training, and other bodybuilding courses because those make me a better coach, and then I can reach more clients. So the more you can invest in yourself, the better. You'll never regret it. It'll make you a better person all around, make you more marketable. So whatever you can do on your journey, I highly recommend. I wish I had started this years ago. I was like, "Oh man, it's a lot of money to spend on myself," but like, we buy shoes and we buy clothes and we buy all this stuff that's
Oh yeah,
not going to give us
there's
a direct
there's
return.
endless, there's the list of things we've wasted on will always far exceed the list of things we've invested in,
Yeah.
because there's so much that we can waste our money on. It's insane. It's insane. So, John, in the essence of time, we're having a great conversation. I'm loving it. In the essence of time, I asked you for a favor before we had this podcast. I said, John, I told you I was vegan, vegetarian, and vegan, and then vegetarian, and now I'm a ceatarian. So meaning I eat whatever I see if I choose to eat it. Um, but I'm not heavy on the meat. So I don't eat. I might have, I don't even want to say it now because you've just done the whole cow thing, but I might have steak a few times a year. Um, I tend to stay away from pork. I do like sushi. That's going to be a tough one to give up. But last week I was in Philadelphia with a friend of mine, and he's a vegan, and he took me to vegan restaurants only. So I ate all vegan for like 4 days. And well, first of all, I dropped like 4 pounds while traveling, which never happens. Never. Usually it's the other way around. And part of it also because I've been training for this race. So put those two together. But I had some of the best food that I've had in a long time. So I asked you for a favor, and I said, hey, I want to know what a sample meal plan would look like if I were to decide to go vegan. And John was nice enough to share this meal plan, and not only share it with me, because guess what? This is a freemium service, so I'm gonna share it with all of you as well. So he gave us a sample meal plan, and I just have a few questions about it, because there's a few things on here that I have no idea what they are. What the heck is TVP?
Yeah. So do you want me to run through each meal as if like you were a prospective client, or do you want me to just
I mean, if
answer
you have
that?
time, I know you said you have a hard
Yeah.
stop. I mean, if you got time,
Yeah.
yeah, hit me with it.
We'll speed through it. I do this a lot. So when my client comes to me, I find out what allergies they have, what they like to eat, what they don't like to eat. Anything that I make for them is inspiration, depending upon the client. If you're a competitor, you're going to eat whatever I tell you to eat. If you're not planning to get on stage, we can track macros, we can swap
Nah,
things in and
not
out.
getting on
We
stage.
can we can make it work. So if you don't like this, we can update it, we can change it. There's always a swap that can be made. So starting with that first meal, I kind of made you like a protein oatmeal bowl. You could do this a few ways. You can do overnight oats. You can make warm oats. You can make a smoothie. So we have oats. We have some pea protein isolate from True Nutrition. Amazing company. I really like the marshmallow treat or the cookie butter flavoring. We got some walnuts for good fats, some ground flaxseed, additional good fats for your hormones, and then some blueberries, carbs and antioxidants. Now, if you don't like blueberries, we do strawberries, we do banana, we can swap things in and out. That meal you were asking about, though, that second meal, the TVP. TVP stands for textured vegetable protein. And
Oh, so
it's,
it's like
yeah,
tempeh or seitan from the old days. Yeah.
a little bit different than those. It comes in
Okay.
like little teeny crumbles. And you can either microwave them, you can cook them on the stove, but they'll take whatever flavor you throw at them. So, like for this meal, I was thinking some TVP with some lentil pasta, throw in some marinara sauce, some nutritional yeast, which has like a cheesy flavor, some green beans. You could throw avocado on there as well, and just have this well-rounded kind of Italian-style meal. And the TVP is going to be almost like ground beef. It's that's how it's going to taste in this meal, and you can season it
Oh,
with
so
garlic,
like the
onion.
beyond ground
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. Okay. Yeah, got it.
Except
Got it. Okay.
way more cost affordable, way less ingredients. I
Mm,
buy it by like the 50-pound bag because it's way cheaper that way, and it's just easy. That's
okay.
why I love it. I make mine in the microwave. Like you don't have to be a chef to do this. Almost all these meals could be made in the microwave. The next meal, we got tofu, and people are like, "Yeah, I don't like tofu." Well, you probably
Love
haven't cooked it
tofu
right.
all day.
Love tofu.
Bring it.
You can make it in the air fryer. One that I've been doing recently, I'll take a cheese grater. I don't eat cheese, but I'll take a cheese grater. I'll grate up the tofu. That way it has more surface area to take in all the spices. So I'll put soy sauce, garlic, onion, pepper, and mix it all
Oh,
in there
hold
and
on.
make it nice.
Pause really quick. My sisters and I, shout out to my sisters. Uh, we used to have a funny joke growing up that we season our tofu with tofu because tofu was soy, and then we would add soy sauce to it. Just
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, there you go. There you go. And then I just threw in some carrots, potatoes, and spinach for some veggies. You could swap the potatoes out for rice if you want rice. We got options. We got options. And then meal four is really just a snack on there. It's a no-cal bar. They are a dairy-free, gluten-free protein bar. I love them. They have a dipped option, so like they have a dipped birthday cake, a dipped gingerbread, a dipped chocolate peanut butter. Like they're super good. And then an orange, covers some vitamin C, just a little bit of fruit. But if you don't like orange, we could do apple, we could do watermelon, we could do pineapple. Like we got options. So this was just, based on your weight, based on your height, about where I would put you at. But I would need to work with you to see, does this need to go up? Does this need to go down? Everybody's built differently. Some people work on their jobs sitting down typing all day. Other people are servers running
Yeah.
around. Other people run 10Ks. So it really just depends. So we got options here, but this is what I do as part of my coaching services. I offer a meal plan that can be used as inspiration, or you can follow it to the T, whatever is easier for you. I also create a training plan, cardio plan, supplement plan, and then you get access to me on my WhatsApp that is dedicated just to clients. I'll put do not disturb on for my texts when I'm tired of talking to my friends and family, but my clients still get a reply within 24 hours, no matter what. So it's really high-end, customized, one-on-one coaching. I work with people all around the world. I got somebody in Japan. I got somebody in Hawaii. I mean, like I got people everywhere. So, it's my passion to help people on their fitness journey. I work with vegans. I work with non-vegans. If you want to work and you're committed to making a change to your life, I want to work with you. I want to work with people that want to work. Most people, I would say, that my most successful clients, they want to work, they just don't know how. Or they've been doing it themselves their whole lives, but doing the same things wrong each time, just not knowing what it is. So that's where I step in to be able to be like, hey, I've figured all this out for myself. I've helped a few hundred other people do it. I can figure you out too. So.
Indeed. Well, hey, I appreciate this. The only thing I can't get with is anything flavored key lime. I'm gonna have to try a different bar, but I'm interested in the no cal protein bar. And you have given a whole new meaning to the Bart Simpson line. Don't have a cow. I understand it now. Well, listen, John, I know you've got to go. I want to appreciate you spending some time with us on the Money Script podcast. For those who want to learn more about his services and how he works, or you want to get a meal plan of your own, I encourage you to go to at the bodybuilding vegan on Instagram. You can also check out his website at thebodybuildingvegan.com. As always, links will be in the show notes. Copy of this meal plan that I'm gonna try this out. I'm gonna see how this works. I don't know if I'm gonna get a 50-pound bag of TVP, but I'll start somewhere. And of course, as I mentioned at the top of the show, if you're a business owner and it is coming up on year end or whatever time it is, if you don't have some sort of retirement plan set up for your small business, explore your options. You'll be happier knowing that you at least explored your options, started to do something instead of continuing putting off and just doing nothing. Of course, I hope you listened to this show as you were eating a meal and you looked down at your plate and said, I can do better, especially if there was a cow on your plate, or maybe you just didn't care at all and you're okay with the forceful insemination and kidnapping of children of cows. Whew, that was heavy. But on the lighter side, we will see you next time here on the Money Script podcast. Like I said, we're wrapping up the end of 2023, looking forward to season 5 of 2024. This has been one hell of a ride. I'm enjoying every single step of it. And John, welcome to the family for the Money Script podcast. We hope to have you back as a guest sometime soon. Until then, you know what to do. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to take a moment out for their finances, and we will see you next time.